What's cracking, y'all? You are now watching Boo TV. Appreciate you for stopping in. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, stay notified, and let's get into the topic for today. Manute Bol. One thing that I said I would do was do at least one Manute Bol video once a year, every year on July 9th. Now, technically, it's July 10th. That's because July 9th is my birthday, so I was really busy actually during the whole weekend and really didn't have any time to make content. But I will always remember July 9th because it is my birthday, and on July 9th is where Sudan, where Manute Bol's from, actually South Sudan, where they remember Manute Bol and celebrate him, the man he was, his legacy, and what he did to move the country forward into a better place from where they were. South Sudan. Manute Bol grew up there, raised there. Out there, especially back in his day, it was a daily struggle to survive. Third world country, man. Diseases, poverty, hunger, famine, and a deadly, violent civil war that was going on that killed hundreds of Manute Bol's friends and relatives. And he wanted to dedicate his life to bringing freedom to South Sudan. Like I said, Manute Bol is an icon there. He is literally a superhero in his country. And even when he got drafted to the NBA and was making lots of money for back in his day, millions of dollars, which is especially a fortune in the USA. Can you imagine what that could do for a country like Sudan? But he never lost sight of who he was and where he came from and what his mission was as a basketball player. He used basketball, used his height, used his abilities as a way to provide for his people. He always gave back to his country. His goal was to lift his people up. Humanitarian work, infrastructure, building schools, educational facilities, providing food, shelter, medicine, and even peaceful protesting. He spent damn near every dime he made in the NBA to give back to his country. And after he passed away in 2010, just a handful of months later, like, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 months after he passed away, South Sudan declared its independence for the first time ever. And I wish Manute Bol was alive to be there, to see it happen. All his hard work, his leadership, the seeds he was planting grew, sowed, flourished, blossomed. I wish he was alive to see the independence for South Sudan. I really do. He did all kinds of creative things. He signed a one-day contract with the Indianapolis Ice of the Central Hockey League. He couldn't skate. Didn't know a damn thing about it. But he only did it because he knew the publicity that would come with it, just by him being there. And with that money that he raised for being on site, he gave it all to the children in Sudan to assist them. Manute Bol also established the Ring True Foundation to continue fundraising for Sudanese refugees. And every time Manute Bol would slide through to the refugee camps in Sudan. Man, they treated him like a king. Check this little bit I found. Bol was also an advocate for reconciliation efforts and worked to improve education in South Sudan. An article in the New York Times highlighted Bol's work for reconciliation and education with an organization called Sudan Sunrise. Bol first began working with Sudan Sunrise to raise awareness on issues of reconciliation in 2005. This included speaking at the United States Capitol and subsequently partnering with Sudan Sunrise to build schools across South Sudan. That, in the spirit of reconciliation, would enroll students regardless of tribe or religion. This is just a small sample of the many things Manute Bol did for his country for many, 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 many years. That's love. He is South Sudan. He is Sudan. A true hero, a real hero. And I think it's important that people understand his full story. Not just him, the basketball player, but everything he meant, everything he stood for, and the meaning behind his basketball career. And for those that are interested in the basketball portion, Manute Bol, now he was widely popular for his height, right? 7'6", one of the tallest players to ever play in the NBA, if not the tallest or tied with the tallest, something like that. 7'6", 200 pounds. Was drafted in the 1985 NBA draft, second round, 31st overall pick, selected by the Washington Bullets. Had a wonderful playing career in the NBA that lasted about 10 years. 1985 to 1995. Obviously playing center. After the Bullets, he played for the Warriors, 76ers, Miami Heat. Came back to the Bullets, went to the 76ers, wrapped up in Golden State for his NBA tenure. Made one NBA All-Defensive second team selection. And two-time NBA blocks leader. Points, totals, 1,000, just short of 1,600 points for 2.6 points per game. 2,647 rebounds for 4.2 rebounds per game. 2,086 blocks for 3.3 blocks per game. Manute Bol at times was a very imposing defensive player just based on his sheer height and how long his arms were. He actually had set the record for most blocks in a half with 11 and most blocks in a quarter with 8. And he got that twice, did that twice. 8 blocks in a quarter. And it said on average, I read that Manute Bol, for the minutes he played, was averaging about 1 block shot per 5.5 minutes. But because of Manute Bol's frail stature, wasn't very heavy for his size, very thin, it really limited what he was able to do, especially when he was going up against, stronger and bigger, not necessarily taller, but bigger and stronger centers. He really couldn't do a whole lot offensively, especially with these guys. Couldn't move them at all. Couldn't really establish his position in the post very well. Would often get pushed out the block, things like that. Some fun records that Manute Bol holds. First in career blocks per 48 minutes, 8.6, almost 50% beyond second place Mark Eaton. Second in career blocks per game average, 3.34. 18th in total block shots, 2,086. It's actually really impressive because he only played 10 years. And the only player in NBA history to have more block shots than points scored. That's impressive. Some people might say, well, that's not impressive. Nah, that's impressive. Anyway, I don't know a whole lot about Manute Bol. I saw him play a little bit in his playing career and watching, some short videos here and there in the past and trying to read up on what he was about. But I'm sure there's a lot of details and things I don't know. Very important things, very interesting things. So that's why we're going to check this documentary out, man. Let's get into it.
Sudan is not a place where dreams come true. More often, it is where they are left to die. The Dinka tribes once towered over these jungles. Now, they shrink beneath the ravages of famine and civil war. But one young warrior boldly dreamed of a new future.
All 7 feet 7 inches of him, the tallest player in the history.
So this, I'm looking at the ticker at the bottom. Obviously, this was during 2005, this documentary, which means Manute Bol was still alive, and South Sudan had not declared freedom yet. They still had many years of battling.
History of the NBA. Blocked by Bol. Try it again.
His journey made him a legend. His sacrifices almost killed him. And his courage inspired a nation. The story goes that there were 2 members of the Dinka tribe, a husband and a wife, who were worried that they might never have a child. According to Dinka belief, a problem with childbearing meant the gods were unhappy. But the tribal chief told the couple they would have a healthy boy, and when they did, they named him Manute, which meant special blessing.
What?
It seemed that Manute's name was prophetic. He grew up strong and tall, the perfect heir to a Dinka chief and a tribal elder.
Dinka people are very, very, very loyal and very proud people. We were colonized by the British people, and the first time they set eyes on the Dinkas, the chiefs, our grandfathers, they wouldn't be submissive. They thought you should come here and treat us with respect.
You could even tell by the way they walked. They walked with straight pride, the elders being respected. So I've never met a more disciplined, gentle group of people anywhere.
The Dinka's home of southern Sudan was in the midst of its longest period of peace. And the Dinkas carried on their way of life just as they had for centuries.
We're proud to be Dinka. I'm a guy that grew up with the cows, I was a farmer. My father wanted me to maintain the Dinka culture, our culture.
But one day, fate would intervene.
My cousin dragged me to the basketball court. I took a couple of dribbles and I tried to dunk the ball. Lost my 2 teeth in the rim. I broke my teeth. So I decided at that time that I should play basketball. And I went and told my father. My dad said no. So I snuck out in the house and I went back to the city. And I started playing basketball.
All of a sudden, he developed real fast. He got to be a real good player. And then he was selected to the national team.
Suddenly, Manute was exposed to whole new ways of life.
I saw American with a nice socks, nice shoes, everybody looking good, And they were saying that if you go to the United States, you can be a good player.
Lured by the promise of wealth and adventure, Manute would become the first African player drafted by the NBA.
They came to him and told him that he was going to start the next day, and they were playing against the LA Lakers. And he tells me now, he said, I couldn't sleep, because he was just so excited and nervous at the same time. And he ended up playing against Jabbar, and he had a really great game. He actually blocked Jabbar's shot. And that was kind of like his coming out in the NBA.
what I made in the league, so I called back the Sudan. And I said, guess who I play against tonight? They say, who? I say, I'm playing against Dr. J. All my cousins didn't believe me. All my teammates, they say, no, you're lying.
Soon, they would all believe as Manute became one of the game's true phenomenons.
The shovel pass to Green, blocked by Bol. Green in the lane again, and again he's blocked by Bol. Holy mackerel, the human fly swatter. Burned by Manute, who's playing incredible defensive basketball.
It was funny watching guys just, trying to dunk on the dude.
Pressing on the drive. Blocked by Manute Bol. Yes! Yeah.
Didn't happen very often. He altered the game, man. He altered the game.
Manute would find a home with 4 different teams, and he became a fan favorite everywhere he went.
Manute for 3. Good! That's his second in a row. And nothing but net. The crowd beside themselves.
He was always open. People would leave him open. I mean, I would too. At 7'7", but he made some big shots.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Manute Bol has hit 3 three-point shots. What's going on here? Manute madness.
He can always get you to laugh at something. If nothing else, there's him. There's Manute just being Manute.
Oh, Manute goes between the legs. What a shoulder. The man is incredible.
Charlie! Oh! Don't do him like that! Don't do him like that, Charlie. Woo!
Manute had found wealth and fame in America, but as his NBA career was thriving, far away in his homeland, civil war had erupted, and it would soon reach across the ocean and touch Manute in ways he never could have imagined. In Manute's home of southern Sudan, a bloody civil war had broken out.
The northern Sudanese, who are Muslims, want to run the country according to Islamic law. And if you want to institute Islamic laws, you're pretty much kind of like dividing the country, based on religion.
The Arab people in the north have this mentality that they are the slave owners, they are the dominant people, and the other people are not of their interest.
The Dinkas had little chance against the superior forces of northern Sudan and were slaughtered by the thousands. But to Manute, the war seemed a distant threat.
At that point, he's been maybe in this country for like 5 years, you live in a good American life, you go out whenever you want, have something to eat. I mean, you get caught up in the way you live in this country, but the war just kept getting worse and worse.
Seeing their story one night on the news, Manute had a sudden call of conscience.
It was 1991. This is the first time I see Sudan on TV. And I saw it. The Sudan government were killing my people. I say, no, this cannot be right. I have to do something, I decided to be a fighter.
He went to Sudan for the summer, and I think that really touched him.
I feel I make a lot of money. I should give it back to my people, because my people are dying. I am not happy. When I came in, I was feeling really so bad because what I saw in my eyes is not what people told me. But I'd be happy to take this videotape back. I'm trying to convince people that our people need help.
Manute spoke across the United States, trying to raise awareness of his people's plight.
I have a good life, but these people are dying. I mean, somebody got to come up and do something. It's 1,000 people dying every day. I go to the refugee camp and take a picture, and then I give it to the State Department. I thought to educate American people. The next threat going to be Islamic fundamentalists. You guys got to take care of these people now. They told us in the State Department that they have no interest in Africa.
This government allowed Osama bin Laden to come in, and after he was expelled from his own country in Saudi Arabia, he went to Sudan. He was welcomed, he was given safe haven. And as a matter of fact, from 91 to 96, that's when he really built up Al-Qaeda.
I went to Pentagon myself, and I told them, please, bin Laden have to be stopped. Nobody believe us. I feel like a fool.
Then, out of the blue, the Sudanese government invited Manute back to his homeland to take part in a peace negotiation. They even offered him a job as head of culture and sports. His friends and relatives warned him of the risks, but Manute pushed forward.
I was scared, but I gotta do it, you know.
As soon as Manute arrived in Sudan, the government seized his travel documents. The offers of a place within the government was withdrawn, and Manute was basically under house arrest.
Afraid that if he went to a government hospital, he would be killed, Manute saw his health deteriorate.
I was held back there for 3 years. Bad arthritis. My hand, my hip, my knee. I was in bad shape.
Manute's friends and family flooded news organizations with the story of his plight. But the government wouldn't yield, and Manute grew desperate.
He felt that his condition at that point was hopeless and that he would probably never get out. He thought he would die in Sudan.
In a bold gamble, Manute simply boarded a plane and dared the government to stop him.
When Manute arrived at the Khartoum airport, he was detained for 2.5 hours and not allowed to get on the plane. And it wasn't until there were several BBC reporters there recording this that word came down from higher up that Manute was better out of their hair than creating an international incident at the airport.
Manute was finally back in America, but he was penniless, living with his family in a cramped house paid for by charity. But despite his own troubles, he knew one thing: his people still needed help.
The thought of 7'7" former NBA shot blocker Manute Bol as a jockey is absurd. Bol will become a spectacle as the world's tallest jockey.
Unable to play basketball, he earned money any way he could, trading on his past celebrity.
Manute Bol, who will be the tallest player in professional hockey history.
But as if he hadn't crossed enough hurdles, his greatest challenge was yet to come.
Former NBA center Manute Bol is fighting for his life tonight. Bol was a passenger in a car when it flipped over on a Connecticut highway. The cab driver was killed in the wreck. Bol was thrown from the car and suffered serious head injuries.
Manute's neck was broken, and he was near death, but he managed to hold on.
I didn't know that.
I was gonna say that, why me? You know, but I say, no. God kept me alive. I didn't die. I am the lucky guy. It was a miracle. So I'm happy. And I feel like I'm gonna walk like everybody. I'm gonna do good. I'm trying now, you know, to get up. Don't harm me.
Okay.
Keep your hand off.
Keep your hands off.
Yeah, because I need to walk by myself.
I know.
I don't need anybody to help me out. I need to walk.
Corner. You want to
I
walk
need to walk.
Stairs, walk.
I'm not gonna fall no more.
Even now, as he struggles to walk, his thoughts are never far from home.
When the peace comes in Sudan, I will know that I did something good. I'm not gonna give up, you know. I'm gonna try and fight.
Ironically, this grandson of a Dinka chief who couldn't wait to get away from his people has lived up to the name given to him decades before. Special blessing. descendant of Dinka royalty, beloved basketball phenom, and a hero to the persecuted and oppressed of the southern Sudan, Manute Bol lay broken in a Connecticut hospital. He had narrowly escaped with his life in an auto accident that left his taxi driver dead and his former NBA player at a point of crisis.
When I was outside before the accident, I was making a living. But after that, it's been zero because I'm in the bed here. You cannot help or you're not better.
It is Dinka tradition that the past will provide help when there are problems in the present. For Manute, it would come from his playing days. Chris Mullen had met Manute before he entered the league, and he and his family had accepted Bol into their tribe, even though they grew up a world away in Brooklyn, New York.
So they took Manute Bol under their arm, if they could, so to speak, and treated him as a member of the family.
Good food. I have a place to sleep. They take me to the Irish bar, talk to the Irish people.
When we walked in there was a lot of people thinking they had way more to drink than they actually did. But he was comfortable there. I was comfortable bringing him there, and he was my friend. I was his friend, and we went where we went.
Their paths will cross again when Chris, a struggling young player with the Warriors, encouraged Coach Don Nelson to trade for his old friend.
You thought that it was very good for me to go and play for him and also hang around with Chris.
Hey, boy. Hey, man. What you doing? Me.
Mullen would become an all-star while he and Manute became basketball's hottest couple.
Don't get nervous now.
Party's over.
You ain't been on TV in a while, no.
No. What you doing, man?
As much as he would stick out on Flatbush Avenue, that's how much I would stick out in the Sudan.
There was one lady who told me, she said, hey, Manute, in summertime, can you guys take a vacation to Hawaii? And I said, why? He said, your friend too white, you know. Chris Mullen needed some tan.
Get off my shoes.
They would pal around, always eating together, and wrestling and all of that kind of stuff. Going in the hotels on the road, you know, those guys in the room wrestling. I said, come on, man, you got. But that's kind of like, you know, brothers.
What you call that baby doll? Love you, baby.
When Chris's father died in 1990, Manute was there in his friend's time of need.
We got to know each other beyond basketball and beyond just the hype. I think over time, when you go through different things, it's not something you expect or plan. That's what happens. Friends are there for each other.
It's a bond that began with one family and will live on with another.
The Dinkas have very well-established and well-entrenched traditions and customs as to how they name their offspring. And to name a child after somebody is of the utmost honor. And I watch with a bit of amusement when I introduce Manute's children to anybody. I go through the list and I'll go, this is Abouk, Madute, Chris, Ayak, and Bol. And just to watch the faces of people scrunch up and ask, hey, did you say Chris?
That's his way of, to me, saying how much he thinks of me. That's a beautiful tribute. And that's pretty incredible.
Mullen's tribute to Manute will come later. Chris, who had become the Warriors' vice president, organized a charity event and raised over $80,000 to pay for Manute's medical bills.
When I heard about that, I said, Chris, are you telling me the truth or not? He said, don't worry about it.
He's got a great heart. He's a really good person, and I think he's touched a lot of people. You know, he's touched a lot of people in a positive way, and I think that's why people want to help him.
Now let me talk to T-Way.
T-Way? T-Way. He's right here.
What's up, Nudie? I'm not wasting my time, man. No problem, man. You just get well soon, all right, so we can see you down here, okay?
Hey, I'm going to try to do that.
All right, cool.
And thank you guys a lot, man.
No problem, man. You just get well, that's all.
These people called me here, and they told me. I said, thank you, Chris.
It's been a great friendship, and it's been based on a lot of things. It's been based on real life. It's been based on ultimately being there for each other, in good times and bad. That's life to me. It's the circle of life, you know, it really is.
And with Chris's help, Manute hopes to bring his life full circle by returning the Sudan to a more peaceful time. A time that he loved and left as a young Dinka tribesman.
God's gonna open the road for Southern Sudanese to have a feast soon. Somebody's gonna wake up and say, we gotta go to this country and we gotta make that feast. If we have a peace in Sudan, that would be a good gift. So I'm praying for that. I'm not gonna give up. I'm gonna try and fight for peace and to survive. Baba, you know what your dad used to do, right?
Yes.
What I used to do?
You used to dunk over people.
And?
You used to shoot over them.
Ball takes it, he wants it again.
He just had a big heart and one of the funniest dudes I've ever been around, and had a great zest, and he still does for life. You know how he used to talk about great players make the players around them better. Great people make the people around them better. And I'm better off for the time that I spent around him. There's no question about that.
American game, he is fantastic.
Don't worry, be happy. He loved that song. He would come in almost every day singing. When that song was hot, every day he would come in there. Don't worry, be happy. Yo, Rob, what are you mad about? Don't worry, be happy. He loved that.
Anybody who loves life and doesn't forget where you came from, you're going to give back the best that you can. And Manute is at the head of the class.
He seems like he's determined more than ever. If there's anything he can do, he still will try to do. As long as he's alive and he's breathing, I'm sure he's going to try, you know? He's going to try to do whatever he can for his people.
During that entire 100+ days in the hospital, I never saw him depressed.
All right, now.
See? And it was probably that same spirit that allowed him to go from just a herder of cattle in a remote village in Sudan to a decade-long career in the NBA.
I'd have to say the most interesting, you know, funny, intriguing, crazy art. And yet with all that, basketball, the car accident, growing up, somehow he makes me smile. You know,
Is he a great daddy?
Yes.
Why?
He's a good head.
Because I love him.
I love you too.
Love you too, Dad.
That was beautiful, man. I'm glad I watched that. That was very enlightening, and a lot of, you know, just preaching on Manute Bol and everything he was as a man, as a basketball player. Now, I did not know that he was the first African drafted into the NBA. That I didn't know. And watching him just shoot them 3-pointers from distance, I said, I see where Bol get it from. I see where Bol is very skilled. He can do a lot of things that his paw couldn't do. But I think Manute Bol had some type of condition, I forgot what it's called, on his right hand, so it prevented him from doing a lot of things with his dominant hand, but that I think it's a condition called claw hand, and he started becoming very efficient and proficient with his left hand because of his condition in his right hand, which was his natural hand. But Bol can do a lot. He's like his dad basically, but has like point guard, shooting guard skills. I can't wait to see Bol get to a team where he can thrive and be, number 1 or number 2 option. He's a unicorn for real. But yeah, Manute Bol. I heard about he had a really tight relationship with Chris Mullin, and I heard that he had a tight relationship with Charles Barkley too. And you kind of see some of it briefly when they showed him and Chuck together, but it got a lot of detail with the Chris Mullin story and how they were connected and how they were brothers. But watching this documentary, like I said, this was 2005, and then it talks about hopefully, South Sudan, can be liberated, and here we are, 5 years after this, Manute Bol passes away, and they get their freedom. South Sudan declares their freedom for the first time ever. It's a wonderful story. Now, Manute Bol passed away from, I believe, kidney failure, and I didn't know about that accident, but it could be based on complications from that accident that probably led to his kidney failure over time. I wouldn't be surprised. Did you see that car? That was horrific. I cannot believe a guy at his height got thrown out of the car and survived. And shout out to Chris Mullins, man, being there for his boy, man. All times, man. It's a wonderful story, man. Shout out to Bol and to the family and to South Sudan. Rest in peace, Manute Bol. One of the very special and unique players that we've ever seen get on the basketball court, and that did a lot of things for his country, man. Till he went broke, spent all his money, all his earnings to give back to his country. Till he had no more money, was broke. But still finding ways, man. Resourceful man was Manute Bol. Hey, man, it's been a good learning experience for me. And like I said, July 9th, my birthday, and I don't know if it has an official name, but I'm calling it Manute Bol Day. I'm going to do a Manute Bol video at least once a year, every time on or around July 9th, depending on how busy I am. But y'all let me know what you think about it. If you have any context or information you can add regarding Manute Bol, let me know in the comment section, or just share your thoughts in general. I would love to hear your opinion. Y'all know me. I do my best to get to the comment section of most of my videos and see what everybody chit-chatting about. Love to mingle with you guys when I can. You feel me? All right? Appreciate you. Take care. Be blessed. And I catch you on the next one. We out, baby.